All right, so are we live? We're live, I think. So I'm actually operating this video from my phone, which is kind of cool, I guess. Technology. Oh my God. So I have quite the story to share with you. I have so many notes here and even double this amount on my phone that I'm going to have to read as I go along. Basically, I want to share the story of how I got from India during the second wave of the pandemic to the country that I'm in right now, which is Albania. It has been quite the journey. Before we begin, this video is sponsored by Surfshark. If you're still browsing the internet without using protection, my question to you is why? So for those of you who don't know, I have been in India for a year and a half. It's been quite frustrating. I love India. It's one of my favorite countries ever, and I cannot wait to go back. But I must tell you, during the pandemic, it has been a nightmare for a traveler. I did have the option to go back to the United States. When everything started, I chose not to. It was only supposed to be 2 weeks to lower the curve, right? To prevent this thing from getting out of control. I decided, well, why would I go home and spend, $2,000 to $3,000 just for a flight home when I can just stay here? So basically I had a flight booked from southern India to Sri Lanka. I was going to go hang out in Sri Lanka for a month, and then 3 days before my flight was intended to leave, my flight was canceled. When I contacted the airline, they said, oh, it should only be another 30 days and then it'll be open. I said, I'll just wait here and then everything will be okay. Well, 30 days later, they said, another 30 days, 30 days later, another 30 days, 30 days later, another 30 days. This turned into like 13 months of waiting. I gotta follow this timeline, otherwise I'm gonna get so confused. So while in India, every 30 days I had to file an extension to extend my visa. I'm allowed 6 months in the country, and then anything beyond that is illegal. They can rip up your passport, they can charge you 40,000 rupees, or they can prevent you from ever coming back to India. I didn't want any of those things to happen, so I wanted to abide by the rules. Every 30 days, you had to resubmit all of these documents saying, I'm in your country because of the pandemic, and there are no flights to my next country. Unfortunately, you couldn't just fill out one piece of paper and they would just approve it, and then you would leave as soon as flights opened. Nope, you had to do the same process every 30 days. It was literally a nightmare. Oh my God, I could tell you stories just about that alone. I won't. I'm going to focus on a different aspect of this whole story. So at the beginning of May of 2021, I bought a plane ticket from India to Albania. Apparently at that time, there was only about 5 countries in the world who were open without really COVID restrictions. Someone sent me a message and said, hey, you should probably go to Albania. I don't really know anything about it, but sure enough, when I looked at the restrictions, there were pretty much nothing. Just go. And so I thought, I'm done with this headache of paperwork and staying in a country that's just on lockdown for so long. So I decided to go to Albania. So basically, I just decided to buy a ticket. The ticket that I bought was southern India, Bangalore, India, to Paris, France, and then Paris, France to Rome, Italy, and then Rome, Italy to Tirana, Albania. So after I bought this ticket, I realized that this whole exiting India thing is going to be a little bit more complicated than I thought. So I got an email from the airline company, which was Air France, and they said, in order to get on the flight, you must prove a negative COVID test that is less than 72 hours old. I thought, that's easy enough, I can do that. Another message said that I needed an approval from the Indian Aviation Authority, whoever or whatever that is. I thought, okay, I'll do some research. And then another message from them said that even though they sold me the ticket, they won't actually let me fly from Rome to Albania, because currently the network of Air France, apparently they won't fly their planes outside of the European Union, something like that, which is kind of strange because they just sold me a ticket flying me out of the European Union. So not sure what's happening there, but they sold me a ticket to fly me from Rome, Italy to Albania, but then the message says they can't do that. And this is where the fun begins. So basically, this is when I started calling the Indian Aviation. All of the phone numbers that I found on the internet were completely disconnected. You would call them and it said, this phone number has been disconnected. I tried emailing people. No one ever responded. I tried contacting the airline company and asked them if they have a contact. Nobody has a contact. They don't even know what this even means. They said it's up to me to coordinate with them to get out of the country, even though nobody would pick up the phone. So I decided to put that on the back burner for now. I also called the airline to clarify about the COVID test. Basically, if I have a test that is less than 72 hours old, does that mean 72 hours old from the moment that I get on the flight, or 72 hours old from the time that I get on my last flight, or even the time that I enter Albania, right? If I have a test that is older than 72 hours and I enter Albania and they say, let me see the results, and it's like 4 days old, 5 days old now, they're going to say, what the hell? You cannot enter the country because it's too old. So when I asked this question to the representatives, they said, we we have no idea. And they said, let me put you on hold. Let me ask the supervisor. Let me do research on their network. They could not come up with an answer. They're like, sorry, sir, we don't know what to tell you. So I said, so basically your whole business is to fly people from one place to another, and you're forcing people to have a test, but you don't even know if I need the 72-hour test before I get on the flight, the first flight or the last flight. Like, how do you not know such a basic thing? And they're just like, yeah, sorry, sir, I just don't even know how to answer your question. I'm like, great. So the only way I can battle this is to get 2 tests. One, get a test a couple days before, so it will be okay when I get on the flight, and then get another one just before I get on the flight. And then by the time I enter the country or even get on my last flight, I'll have a new test that I can show as well in case the old one is expired. Oh my God, I'm getting stressed just thinking about this. I need water. There's more. I filled this whole thing out while I was on the flight because I knew I would forget 99% of this stuff. It's literally insane. It gets crazier. I also asked Air France to clarify what they meant by they cannot fly me from Rome to Albania. What the hell? The man I talked to, he said, yeah, I see this message. He says, don't worry about it. They sold you the ticket. So obviously they're going to be able to fly you there. No problem. Even though the message says we can fly you from India to France and France to Rome, but we cannot fly you from Rome to Albania. Even though the message says that, ignore it because this message must be an error, so therefore we can fly you there, no problem. We sold you the ticket. I said, cool, thank you. That's the confidence I need. Wonderful. The next day, actually, is when I called about the question about the COVID test. And when I talked to the woman there who couldn't give me an answer, she says, whoa, red flag. She says, even though you have 3 tickets and we sold you 3 tickets, I can fly you from here to here and here to here. But the last flight to go from Rome to your final destination, we cannot fly you there. And I said, well, then why did you sell me a ticket? She says, sir, I don't know, but you're probably going to get stuck in Italy and you won't be able to get to your final destination. I thought, well, this is pretty stupid. Like, why would you sell me a ticket if you know that I cannot get on the flight and go to my final destination? So she says, yeah, sir, I don't know, but my best recommendation to you is to cancel all these tickets and then you won't lose your money. Thinking, wow, this is great customer service. So one agent says, yeah, it's fine, you can fly. Another agent says, no, don't fly, cancel your ticket because we won't be able to fly you there. Like, what the hell? That's when I contacted my agency, who I bought the ticket through. I spent more than an hour online with them. They had to call them. Long story, they got through their specialized team. They came back and responded. They said, yeah, even when we contact them, they don't know the answer either. We don't know the answer. We don't know what to do. We're going to escalate this to our 24-hour email department. They'll solve this problem for you. They'll email you and let you know. Well, to this day, I haven't even got a response from them. Crazy. So their 24-hour service turned into never respond to me. Get ready because it gets even deeper. So at the time I was living in Madurai in an apartment and I needed to get to Bangalore to fly. How to do it? I don't know. The local buses are all shut down due to the second wave in India. So then the second option is taxi. I talked to local people. They said it was shut down also. The third option is a train. So, okay, let's do a train. I usually don't like to use credit cards in foreign countries using apps. My friend, he decided that he would book the train ticket for me. And when I met him there in Bangalore, I would just give him cash, no problem. So when he tried to book the ticket for me and he entered my phone number, my passport, everything, the app came back with an error and it says wrong birthday. You have to type in your name and your age and your passport number. And when you do that, it gave an error and it says, wrong age or wrong birthday. Well, this is kind of weird because that's my birthday and that's my age. So what's the problem? So basically I wasn't able to buy a ticket. So he says, well, I'll mark you in as an Indian. We'll kind of cheat the system and we'll pretend that you're an Indian. I'll put everything in there and everything should be okay. I'm thinking, great, this is wonderful. So we're going to lie on the government app. Is this going to cause a problem when I get on the train? I'm lying and pretending to be of Indian descent. So will the ticket man come up to me and give me grief? I don't know. This is in the back of my head. People also said that I need something called an e-pass. It's like an Indian thing. It allows you during the COVID times to travel from one location to another. I asked a couple different people. Some people said, yes, to go from here to there, you must have an e-pass. I don't even know what it is. I don't know where to get one. And then other people said, no, for a train, you don't need one. It's okay. So 50% of people said this, 50% said something else. I trusted the people that I don't need one to get on a train. So I chose to just ignore it and get on the train and hopefully everything would work out okay. And at the same time, the spike is increasing. They were reaching about Hopefully this doesn't happen, but this is also in the back of my mind. So after buying the train ticket, during the day, I would call different hospitals and laboratories in the new city, Bangalore, to schedule some type of test to make sure everything is okay and how long it would take to get the test. Well, I had 10 different numbers to call, and 8 of them would not answer the phone. It would say that this phone number is disconnected, or this phone number is busy, or some other option that I can't remember. And so basically I couldn't even contact anyone. 2 people answered their phone in the city nearby the room that I would be going to, and they said basically, yeah, we can do it. It's not a problem. It should cost 1,500 rupees, but the problem is it's going to take 72 hours to get you results. And I thought, well, that's terrible because 72 hours is 3 days. If I wait 3 days and you give me the result, you will give me an expired test the second you give it to me. And so I can't even get on the plane. How is this possible? This is insane. Is there any way that I can pay more money and you get it done in like 48 hours or 24 hours or something like that? They're like, sorry, sir, we can't do that. There's no way to speed up the process. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is terrible. So I kept trying to hunt numbers, and finally I just gave up. I contacted people all day long. It was so frustrating. And so when I contacted my friend at the end of the evening, he says, don't worry, just come here. When you arrive on the train in the morning at like 7 in the morning, we will drive around the area on a motorbike and go to other places that are not listed online, and we'll try to get a COVID test that way. I said, okay, I don't like this idea because I like to be prepared in advance, but really I'm running out of options. So I said, let's do this. So luckily I got on the train. There was no problems. The ticket man, when I got on the train, he looked at my passport. He says, American, no problem. Okay, have a good day. Bye. That was it. He didn't see that it says Indian, but I'm American. That probably would have caused all kinds of weird problems, especially now. And anyway, everything was okay. I arrived, no problems whatsoever. My friend picked me up on a motorbike, and then we started driving around the area looking for places to get a test. And basically every new place that we went, it said, nope, 72 hours, 72 hours, 72 hours. And we're like, oh my God. We would always ask them, can we pay more money to get a quicker test? Nope, sorry, we can't do that. Oh my God. So my friend, he needs to go to work. So he's on the way back to his room to drop me off. And there was one more place that we seen. So we decided to stop and walk in there. We asked them the same stuff. They're like, no, it's only 72 hours. Sorry. And I said, well, how much does it cost here? And they're like, oh, it's 2,500, which is the first time it's even been close to that. Every time it was anywhere between 1,000 and 1,000 like 500 at the most. And so these people were charging double. And I said, why? What's the difference between your test and everyone else's? Because your price is double, more than double from everyone else. And they both had this like blank stare. They didn't know how to answer the question. My friend, he was listening to them translate between each other. And they said something like, why does this foreigner care what the price is? He's a foreigner. He should be able to pay it no problem. But he didn't tell me that until after. So I thought, okay. We instantly knew that these people were trying to take advantage of me and cheat me simply because I'm a foreigner. They said, wait, sit down for 10 minutes and we'll see if we can make this quicker. I said, good, thank you. We sat down. 10 minutes later, she says, okay, I just contacted the laboratory owner, maybe, I'm not sure. And she said, yeah, if you come here on Wednesday, I leave on Thursday night, by the way. If you come Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock sharp, we will do the test and we will actually have it ready by the end of the day. I said, really, the end of the day? That's like possible? She says, yes, no problem. We can make it happen. I said, it's still 2,500, right? She says, yep, no problem. I said, okay. So I said, I will only need one test because if you can guarantee that it's good by the end of the day, then the test will not expire throughout the duration of my flight. Everything will be okay. I only need one test. I thought, perfect, thank you. I said, okay, we will see you in 2 days, which will be Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning comes around, 8 o'clock, we walk in the door. That lady was not there. It was a young girl who was there. And we said, okay, we're here for the test. She says, test? What test? The COVID test. She says, no, that doesn't start until later. And I said, no, we came here a couple of days ago, spoke to the lady, and she said at 8 o'clock sharp, we would come here, and then she'd provide the result by the end of the day. She says, no, it's going to be 72 hours. I'm thinking, oh my God, are you serious? We just confirmed all of this with a lady like 2 days ago. And I was very adamant. I asked her like 3 times before we left, are you sure everything will be okay? 12 hours, you'll have the test results 100%. She says, absolutely 100%. Do not worry. And here now, they don't even know we're coming. They don't even do the test till like the afternoon. The lady's not prepared. They don't even know what's happening. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm not even going to be able to get on my flight because this is just collapsing right before my eyes. And so I asked her, how much does it cost? Just out of curiosity. She says, it's only 1,500. I said, oh, okay. So we realized, the other lady was trying to cheat. She confirmed it for us because she gave us that price before we asked for the quick test. So interesting. But anyway, she gave us the phone number to call that lady. We did. We probably woke her up in the morning and we're like, what the hell? Where are you? We've been waiting and nobody knows what's happening. She says, just wait for a couple moments, then we'll figure it all out and then we'll don't worry. let me hang up, make some calls, and we'll organize this whole thing. I thought, oh my God. So we waited and we waited. Finally, my friend and I just said, we're going to go grab breakfast. That's what we told the lady. We walked out. He called another friend who had got a test a couple weeks or months ago. I don't know. It was a result within 24 hours. We thought, oh, let's go there. My friend called really quick and they confirmed yes, less than 24 hours. So we got on a motorbike, drove for another like 10 minutes, and we got to a different place. And we walked in and we said, can we get a test? They said, yes, foreigners are no problem. No problem. How much is it? It's only $800. How much time will it take to get the results? They said, oh, by the afternoon, no problem. And we said, really? Afternoon or evening? They said, yeah, totally, no problem. Oh my God, well, we have no option. Let me get this test. Hopefully everything will be okay. We filled everything out and sat and waited. And finally they called us up and we go and take the test. By the way, if you haven't got one of these tests yet, oh my God. Basically, they have two swabs. One, she puts this thing in your tongue and swabs like the back of your throat. Super simple, convenient. I'm thinking, oh, great, that's it. Because I've seen some of the other people do some crazy tests. So if it's just a throat test, I'm happy. She says, okay, now the second test. I'm thinking, oh God, it's not this one, is it? So she takes this this swab. I swear to God, it's like longer than this. And she says, tilt your head back. She shoves this thing. And I swear this whole thing like disappears inside my skull. I think it was like a brain swab. It went so damn deep. And she's like rotating it like this, and it's the most uncomfortable feeling you've ever experienced ever. I don't know how to describe it. If you don't have to get one of these things, don't, but it's very uncomfortable. It's like the most sensitive tissue that you could ever imagine. It's a weird feeling. I don't know how to describe it. Anyway, we got it after like 5 hours. They gave us the results. It may have been 4 hours. We got the results. That was wonderful. I thought, awesome. I can get on the flight. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be wonderful. So Thursday night rolls around. I get on a taxi. I go all the way to the airport. It's like an hour and 15 minutes to get there. I got there super early, like 4 hours early, because I was terrified that maybe we would get stopped and they would do some checks and they'd say, oh, you're a foreigner. What are you doing here? Why are you here? Blah, 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 and ask me 20,000 questions, and that would be a delay and that would make me miss my flight. So I said, nope, we're going to leave early. I don't care if I'm 4 hours early. That's okay. I can sit and wait. So sure enough, I arrived. Everything was super simple. I got there 4 hours early and I just sat there and wait. I went to a coffee shop, had some coffee and some sandwich that cost like, oh my God, so expensive. And while I was sitting there, an Instagram follower came up to me and introduced himself. And he says, yeah, I sent you a message on Instagram a few days ago. I'm thinking, oh my God, I had no idea like he even worked here. But he was super friendly. He actually brought me to my area to get checked in. And there's 2 lines. One's first class. One is like my class. I never fly first class. He says, oh, no, don't worry. I'll help you skip the line. So he talks to the people and they let me pass into the first class line. I go right to the front. They check me in. Everything is super, super smooth. Then he escorts me all the way through immigration, all the way through security, everything all the way up until my gate. And then he says, okay, right here, I got to go back to work or something. And then he let me go. Like 35 or 40 minutes he was with me, just totally held my hand the whole way. It was amazing. So then I sit in the waiting area for quite a while. My flight, it's getting closer to the time of leaving, and then they make an announcement, oh, everything is going to be delayed by 20 minutes. Great, because again, I have 3 flights, this one, the next one, and the next one. And the first layover is only 1 hour. I have 1 hour to get from one flight to the next flight. On my itinerary, it's just like next door, so it's going to be easy. But I don't know if I have enough time. So then we leave 20 minutes late. As we're backing away from the building, the plane stops again and we just wait and wait and wait. I get an email from the airline company that said, okay, flight is canceled until tomorrow morning at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm thinking, oh my God, are you kidding me? But then the plane starts moving again and we go down the runway. So I guess I just discard this email, kind of weird. We take off, we fly, everything's smooth. We land and I have 10 minutes from the time my plane touched on the airway, 10 minutes to get to my next flight. Like I know I'm not even going to get it. Sure enough, once I walk out, the flight is already gone. So I have to go to the front desk. I'm thinking, oh my God, such a nightmare. So they're like, oh, yep, our plane was late. We're sorry. We'll rearrange everything for you. Just wait. They're both talking in French, looking at each other like, oh my God, this guy doesn't have many options and it's complicated. They're like, well, there's 2 problems. One, there's a message saying that because you're coming from India, we're not allowed to fly you from Rome, Italy to Albania. So basically that message that I was getting last week, and I had this long conversation, I said, I just talked to your customer service and they said, everything is okay. I didn't tell them about the other lady who it was 50-50 split. Plus I said, well, then why did your company sell me a ticket coming from India knowing that I would get on this flight and go to Albania? Why? And they both look at each other like, we don't know, this is weird. I don't know, but we'll figure this out. I said, okay. The second part They said, okay, we can get you from here, Paris, France, to Belgrade, Serbia. And then from Belgrade, Serbia, we'll get you to Albania. I thought, okay, that's a way around. Wonderful, let's do that. But we can't fly. You'll have to get on a different flight, a different airline. And I said, okay, whatever. I don't really care what plane gets me there as long as I get there. I said, okay. They said, well, you have to go grab your bags and then you'll have to recheck in, but it's like 13 hours from now. So you have to wait for 13 hours before your next flight. I said, whatever, it's possible. So I had to go downstairs, find my bag, the luggage carousel, my bag wasn't there. It had stopped spinning a long time ago. So I went to the front desk of the baggage department and they're like, yeah, we found your bag. It's like so far away and it's on like almost on another plane to go to Rome. And I thought, oh my God. So they said, don't worry, we will get your bag. You have to wait here for like 35 minutes and then we'll bring your bag. I said, okay. So I sat and wait. Sure enough, my bag came. Both her and the person who gave me my bag, they never even checked for identification, didn't need to see my passport, anything like that. They just kind of like honor system, but got my bag. I went and waited for 13 hours. I got on a new flight, Air Serbia, something like that, Serbian Air, I don't know. Checked in, everything was smooth. I flew there. It was a 2-hour flight. Everyone who knows me personally, you'll know that whenever I fly and there's a child on the plane, they always sit next to me. It's like the universe does this weird thing to annoy me. And kids are great, but it's always the children who are crying and screaming. Sure enough, there's only one woman with children on this whole thing. She has 3 kids. One's maybe like 6 months old, another one's like 3 years old, and another one's like 6 years old, something like that. It's 3 seats in front of me and they're all sitting there. And the whole time it was nothing but screaming, whining, complaining, kicking the seat, throwing things, opening and closing the window, constantly spitting. The mother is screaming, like I'm not talking like just using a stern voice, screaming at her children. The children are screaming at their mother. It was the most insane 2 hours ever. I was so happy to get off that flight. I landed, everything is good to go. I get on another plane, everything went smooth there as well. I arrive in Tirana, Albania at 2 a.m. But the problem was my hostel that I had booked, they won't open until 7 a.m. And then plus the local bus does not open until 7 a.m. So basically I have to wait from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. to get to my room. By this time I am so tired. I haven't got more than like 3 hours of sleep this whole time. I'm just half dead. So I found a bench near the exit. I decided to wait there until like 7 o'clock. And so I put my feet on my bag, my big bag on the ground, and then I bear hugged my small bag with all of my everything super expensive. And I kind of rolled on my side. I only got about an hour and a half of sleep, super uncomfortable. I'm nervous. Someone's gonna like take crap. I woke up at like 4 in the morning and I waited and just stared at the clock until sunrise and 7 o'clock. So then I found a bus. I took it all the way to the city. I walked 15 minutes to find my room. I get there. I'm just relieved as hell that I finally got out of India and I made it here through hell and high water, and there wasn't really any big problems. That is until I opened my bag and realized that someone opened it while I was sleeping and removed my folder that contains all of my important documents, my cash, and my 2 spare credit cards. Yeah, so that sucks. While I was sleeping, someone unzipped that little side pocket and they got into it. There was a couple times that I woke up while laying there and nobody was around me, but there was one time, the last time, I woke up and like people were kind of around me and I thought, oh, okay, maybe I'll just go walk around because it was just really uncomfortable. So my guess is that was the moment. He was awful close. Yep, I lost both credit cards. I contacted my credit card companies. They said, yep, both cards were used, both in this city, Tirana, Albania. They tried to buy something at a pharmacy and it was declined. It was only like $10 of stuff that they tried to buy on each card. So all of that just for $10. So now I had to cancel my cards and now somehow I have to get cards shipped here. The other part that's probably even worse, somehow when I was in Paris, France, the extra flights that they arranged for me, somehow they charged me 3 times for those flights, over $300 each. So they charged me about $1,000 extra. What the hell? So anyway, this is frustrating. So now I have one credit card company is shipping me a card to Albania. Hopefully it arrives. When I contacted her, she's trying to type in my Albanian address. She says, well, your address is too big. It won't fit into our system. So I said, well, what do you mean it doesn't fit into your system? We have all the technology in the world. It's 2021 and you're telling me that you can't ship a card in the mail to me because your system limits the amount of space that you have to type in an address. And she says, yes, that's basically what's happening. Like, oh my God, you're like the biggest, most powerful credit card company in the world and you can't even ship me a card because your system is stupid. This is so frustrating. So I said, can't you just like print it out and have someone handwrite it and send it to me with a full address? Nope, can't do that either. It has to be done through the system. Like, oh my God. Technology is a wonderful thing when it works. These are the problems that always happen to me. I swear nobody else has this crap happen to them. Always me. So we had to like shorten things. So for example, in Albanian, the word for road or street is rruga, R-R-U-G-A, I believe. We had to switch it to R-R dot. So we hope that we saved a couple characters, and we hope that that's enough to shorten everything. So we shortened everything as much as we could. Hopefully it'll arrive. I don't know. I'll find out in about 2 weeks. But as you can see, this journey from India to Albania has been quite the challenge. Normally my travel is not this difficult, but this particular one was rather difficult. I kind of wanted to share this with you to like vent, to get this off my chest. It's been a rough one, but I made it here. I'm so much happier here. Restrictions are pretty much nothing here. The only restriction I seen was if I wanted to go into a bank, I needed to wear a mask, but everywhere else it was totally open, totally okay. Nobody's wearing a mask. There's no lockdowns, there's no quarantines. It's just come and be a human being. It feels amazing to be here. And by the way, the food here is awesome. I was done with Indian food. I love Indian food, but I'm so done, and now I'm eating new things and I'm loving it so far. That's my story. Hopefully these things don't happen to you in the future. And of course, out of everyone in the world that it happens to, it always happens to me. It's like I tracked this crap somehow. I don't know. So I think the next video I'm going to share with you will be like a tour of this place. I'll show you what it's like to be here, just a room tour. And then after that, you'll probably see more stuff in regards to my local village, town area. It's kind of cool here. It's so beautiful, just so beautiful here. Anyway, that's it. I'm guessing like 3 of you survived to the end of this video. Thank you all for watching and supporting this crazy channel. Remember, your time is running out. Start living. Take care.